Imagine earning double your salary overnight, but there's a catch. Your boss now controls what you eat, who you marry, how you spend your free time, and even inspects your home without permission. Welcome to Henry Ford's America, where revolutionary progress came with strings attached. In the early 1900s, Detroit, Michigan became the epicenter of an industrial revolution that would reshape American society forever. At the heart of this transformation stood Henry Ford, a farm boy turned industrialist who didn't just build cars. He built an entirely new social class. Born in 1863 in rural Michigan, Ford grew up fascinated by machines. He wasn't the first to invent the automobile, but he understood something others missed. The real revolution wasn't in creating cars for the wealthy, it was in making them affordable for everyone. In 1908, Ford introduced the Model T, a simple, durable vehicle that anyone could drive and repair. But the real genius came in how he made it. Ford perfected the moving assembly line in 1913, slashing production time from 12 hours to just 90 minutes per car. Workers no longer built entire cars. They repeated one simple task as vehicles moved past them on conveyor belts. This innovation dropped the Model T's price from $850 to less than $300. Suddenly, ordinary Americans could afford personal transportation. Ford's famous quote captured his vision perfectly. He said, "I will build a car for the great multitude, constructed of the best materials, by the best men to be hired, after the simplest designs that modern engineering can devise." But the assembly line created a problem Ford hadn't anticipated. The work was mind-numbingly repetitive. Workers quit in droves, with annual turnover reaching 370%. Ford needed to keep experienced workers, so in January 1914, he made a shocking announcement. He would pay workers $5 per day, more than double the industry standard. The news made international headlines. Thousands of job seekers mobbed Ford's factory gates. Economists predicted Ford would go bankrupt within months. Instead, something remarkable happened. Productivity soared, absenteeism dropped. Workers could actually afford the cars they built, creating customers from his own workforce. Ford had accidentally discovered that paying workers well created the consumer economy. The middle class, as we know it today, began to take shape, but Ford's generosity came with conditions that revealed his darker side. The $5 wage wasn't guaranteed to everyone. Workers had to qualify by living what Ford considered a proper life. To enforce this, Ford created something unprecedented in American industry, the sociology department. Starting in 1914, Ford employed hundreds of investigators who conducted surprise home visits to workers' houses. These inspectors examined living conditions, checked bank accounts, and interviewed neighbors. They investigated workers' drinking habits, cleanliness, marriage status, and even how they spent leisure time. Single men under 22 couldn't qualify for the higher wage at all. Married men had to prove they supported their families properly. Immigrants had to demonstrate they were learning English and adopting American customs. Workers who lived with boarders were suspect. Those who sent money to relatives overseas faced interrogation. The sociology department compiled detailed reports on each worker's private life. Investigators noted everything from diet to furniture quality. They recorded whether families ate together, if children attended school regularly, and if homes contained alcohol. Workers who failed inspections received lower wages and mandatory counseling sessions. Ford genuinely believed he was helping workers improve themselves. He established English language schools, offered financial planning advice, and promoted what he saw as healthy living. But his paternalism crossed into control. Workers weren't free to make their own choices. They had to conform to Ford's vision of American life or lose their economic security. This contradiction defined Ford's legacy. He created opportunity with one hand while restricting freedom with the other. His factory floor innovations liberated workers from poverty, but subjected them to surveillance that would horrify modern Americans. Ford's authoritarian tendencies extended beyond his factories. In 1919, he purchased a newspaper called the Dearborn Independent. For 7 years, this publication spread viciously anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. Ford blamed Jewish people for everything from World War I to jazz music. The paper published a series called The International Jew that influenced Nazi ideology in Germany. Adolf Hitler kept Ford's portrait in his office and praised him in Mein Kampf. Ford received the Grand Cross of the German Eagle from Nazi Germany in 1938, the highest honor available to foreigners. Though Ford later apologized for the newspaper's content and shut it down in 1927, the damage was done. His writings were translated into German and distributed throughout Nazi Germany. By the 1930s, Ford's influence began to wane. He stubbornly resisted updating the Model T, allowing competitors like General Motors to capture market share with more stylish vehicles. His opposition to labor unions led to violent confrontations at his factories. The Battle of the Overpass in 1937 saw Ford's security forces brutally attack union organizers, generating terrible publicity. Ford's sociology department was eventually disbanded, but not because Ford recognized its invasiveness. It simply became impractical as the company grew too large. The precedent Ford set, however, lingered. Many American companies adopted paternalistic policies, believing they had the right to shape workers' private lives. The contradictions in Ford's character remain difficult to reconcile. He pioneered profit sharing and created economic mobility for millions. His production methods revolutionized manufacturing worldwide. The 40-hour work week, now standard, partly resulted from Ford's experiments with worker productivity and satisfaction. Yet this same man tried to engineer society according to his personal prejudices. He saw workers as children needing guidance rather than adults deserving autonomy. His anti-Semitism provided intellectual ammunition for genocide. His innovations freed people economically, while his policies restricted them socially. Ford died in 1947, leaving behind a company that still bears his name and a legacy that remains deeply complicated. The River Rouge complex, his massive factory in Dearborn, once employed 100,000 workers. It stood as a monument to industrial achievement and a reminder of the price workers paid for progress. Today, we benefit from Ford's innovations every time we purchase affordable consumer goods or earn a living wage. The middle class he helped create transformed America into an economic superpower. But his story raises uncomfortable questions about the relationship between employers and employees, between economic opportunity and personal freedom. Can we celebrate Ford's achievements while condemning his prejudices? Should we remember him as a visionary who lifted millions out of poverty, or as an authoritarian who invaded workers' privacy? Perhaps the answer is both. History rarely gives us simple heroes or villains, only complex humans whose choices echo through generations. Ford's assembly line still shapes how we manufacture products. His wage innovations influenced labor standards worldwide, but his surveillance state within the factory walls warns us about the dangers of unchecked corporate power. He made the middle class, then tried to control it. That tension between freedom and security, between prosperity and autonomy, remains unresolved in workplaces today. Every time we debate corporate influence over personal lives, we're still grappling with Henry Ford's complicated legacy.